Of all the candidates, Dr. Richard Van West Charles is best qualified to lead the task of uniting comrades and rebuilding the People's National Congress reform. When the party is disunited and in disarray, he has proven to be the most united candidate and the only one who has put forward a sobering plan for rebuilding and restoring normalcy.
Out of ages of oppression, independent now we stand, newly born again, victorious, reigning masters of our land. On the peak of Mount Roraima, or beneath the rising sun, from the mark of Point of Player to where eastern currents run, all are given liberty by the might of the PNC.
PNCR Party Comrades. Do you know your delegate?
Of all the candidates, Dr. Richard Van West Charles is best qualified to lead the task of uniting comrades and rebuilding the People's National Congress reform. When the party is disunited and in disarray, he has proven to be the most united candidate and the only one who has put forward a sobering plan for rebuilding and restoring normalcy.
Out of ages of oppression, independent now we stand, newly born again, victorious, reigning masters of our land. On the peak of Mount Roraima, or beneath the rising sun, from the mark of Point of Player to where eastern currents run, all are given liberty by the might of the PNC.
Hi, good evening all. Thank you this evening for joining us. I know we are a bit 50 minutes off the mark, but nevertheless, the issues being discussed this evening here, I am certain will bring you the sort of updates that this party of ours, the People's National Congress, as we enter into our 24th biannual Congress tomorrow, 9 a.m., I want us all to appreciate that this program that we have been bringing to you over the past several days, I want to give you an idea as where we are as a campaign. Tomorrow is the day of decision. We have a lot to fix. The campaign for elections of the 24th biannual Congress has been short, energetic, interesting, and in some ways, good learning experience. It has allowed me and others the opportunity to interface with our membership and to do so in innovative ways, given the pandemic and other constraints that have restricted movement. Technology, though, recognizing limitations and the inability to reach all the delegates, I would like to, and allow me, for us to create a new form of interaction and how we meet each other and the connection with party members. These exchanges were both spirited and fruitful. I have taken away a lot from the membership and how you feel and what are the expectations for a new leadership that will put in place after the 18th of December. From the various exchanges, it is clear that our membership is desirous of a change which will permit the People's National Congress to return to its rightful role in the representational politics in the dear land of ours, Guyana. As I indicated from the beginning of the campaign, this election is about our collective future. and the future of Guyana? And who are the best candidates to earn your trust, confidence for the next 2 years? I am offering my service to become chairman, both humble and grateful for the confidence you have placed in me. This I will not take for granted, as I have never taken anything, any responsibility handed to me for granted, nor shall I shirk my responsibility to represent you at every single day which I hold this office. Tomorrow elections provides us the opportunity to chart a new road for the People's National Congress reform. As a candidate running on the experience I have accomplished as regional chairman, as a community organizer, and playing a leadership role along with several others as we build teams capable of ensuring we have victories, not only once, but twice, at our 2011 elections, 2015, and 2020. I know hard work. I know what requires to work with team and to deliver for those who have placed their confidence in me. Let us not think and ensure that as we proceed, that this will be lightly. Let us think carefully and remember our founder leader who devoted his energies and knowledge to bring men, women together, to give birth to our party. Our greatness lies in our service to our people. Our greatness is embodied. I say to you, comrade, it is embodied in how we define the rights of our people. It is not our time to live up to the ideals of our founding father. It is our moment. It is for all Guyanese who hold important and valued members of our community. We cherish them and consider. It is our duty and privilege to guard, protect, and further the real interests of all. Our nation is plagued by scars and racial cleavage and political divisions. Our party must commit to provide the leadership in taking us forward to ensure that our motto of one people, one nation, and one destiny is achievable. Our party must serve a beacon for all who expect the resources which are coming from oil and gas and other resources which we bountifully have. We must not ignore their cries. Tomorrow, comrades, tomorrow is the day when we must expect 1 or 2 hiccups, but we must be patient. Tomorrow we must go to our Congress not as enemies. I beg you, comrades, not as enemies of each other. Tomorrow we must be proud members of the People's National Congress, seeking to put the armor of change, charting a new course for our party and our country. Comrades, your vote will place our party in the hands of a team which will be caring and be strategic and will be inclusionary, consultative at all times so that we have participatory democracy. A team you can elect and will elect have to be connected at all times to our membership. By bringing connectedness to our groups, our supporters, and Guyanese citizenry, both at home and abroad, the team has to have maturity to engage with all political actors for the betterment of our nation, and also seek to ensure that our engagement must abound to the strengthening of the resolve and values associated with attainment of our independence. That team, I humbly propose, should include myself as chairman, Dr. Richard Van West Charles as leader, and other members of the CEC, all of whom I shall work with to bring the sort of improvement our party, our lives, our community, and nationally we so badly need. I wish to thank, as I mentioned earlier about our innovation, I wish to sincerely thank the management of Benchcop Radio, Mr. Mark Benchcop. I wish to thank Dr. David Hines, I wish to express thank you to Sherrod Duncan and others who have provided our campaign the opportunity to share our views. At the same time, have some feedback on issues, perspective that confront us on a daily basis. I say this to you, comrades, as we go tomorrow to put our party first. I say to you, may Almighty God richly bless you all, to shower his blessings not only upon us, but our beloved party. May God bless us all. So I give that update on where we want to see the outcome of tomorrow. But what this campaign represents and what we continue to represent. So this evening we have, as we said early in the week, where we want to move this party and move Guyana forward with our involvement given to us by you, the membership, given to us by you, the delegates. This evening I have joining with me Dr. Richard Van West Charles as he explains his quest towards the journey of leading the People's National Congress reform. So thank you for being on with me this evening, Doc. I know, Dr. Charles, I know that Ms. Kisoon should be joining us. She is actually on the move from, I know, many of the engagements that you're all been connecting with party comrades, meeting across the country, and getting the sort of feedback that will give the shaping moving forward. But what have you observed as we move to just a few hours? I'll just ask as open as that before we get into the particular questions. What have you observed with the Congress as we prepare for it?
Well, let me say good evening, Sharma, and good evening to the listeners. What I would have observed is, I think it's probably still a lot of consultation going on among the membership as to which candidate may be the best candidate, and to get different opinions and reasons why. So I know that exchange is going on around the country. Some people had formed opinions very early, and then as things went on, they began to listen to other candidates, and therefore they're having a different perspective with respect to what the other candidates are saying. So in some instances, there's a conversion. And so the other thing is, what people are asking about is how do they get to the centers, if transportation is laid on for everybody, etc., etc. So, and the timing. So I think all in all, people are getting into a mindset of readiness to be able to make their decisions. Some are even seeking clarifications of different positions at this time. So that is good. That is good because it means that at the front of the minds is a preoccupation as what decisions they have to make for the party and for the country.
I like that. I like that, Doc, because it means democracy is really in play, as we have always credited the People's National Congress to be the vanguard party. I like to repeat this, allowing persons to move from member to leader. Membership is also fully involved through a representative style democracy of delegates to be able to discuss their participation in fully identifying that sort of leadership structure. I think what we have and what we must work to preserve, as you said earlier, is those would be those values. But in those engagements that we have, Dr. Charles, and I see we have Ms. Kisoon with us, so there are some things that I'll bring to her attention shortly because I know she's coming from a few of those engagements. But Doc, what do you see with regards to post 18th of December?
Post 18th of December, people are looking for a re-energized party. They are looking for greater unity, greater resolve, more robust representation, or we may call robust fight, in terms of the representation of the issues of the people. I think that is what the people are looking for. They really want to see a party that stands up to the government and not permit the government to do what it wants, to hit at the government against the unilateral actions that they have been taking all along. So they believe, I think, the change that we are talking about is a change that strengthens their hand in terms of their ability to be able to speak freely, to be able to go around the country without being harassed. And they want to see a party and an opposition, until we get to the government, be strong and stand up for them. And so I think they've had enough. And so they have great expectations in terms of the outcome of these elections.
I understand that quite well, Doc. So I want to now bring Ms. Kisun into the conversation. With regards to your impressions that you see from the ground, and is she on? I saw her on. But I wanted to ask her, based on those impressions that she have gotten as feedback from the ground, and what members are saying about these same issues that you just spoke of, that are addressed, that are affecting members, affecting citizens, affecting Guyana. What it is I wanted to get from her, because I know you have that engagement and that attachment, and you hear from those matters. So can you give us some impressions on what you have acquired while engaging on the ground in this 11th hour for Congress? Okay, I think we're having some problems, so we'll bring Mr. Soon back in. But Doc, right back into the conversation of how do you see that sort of challenge and challenges? And I always speak about coming to this point of competing, being nominated by the membership for the various positions. How do you see the structuring of the organization going forward being effective enough to take on those challenges that you mentioned?
Well, obviously, the secretariat has to be reorganized to assist the groups, to assist the regions to take on the fight. Because remember that you've got to take on the fight at different levels. And if you know the PPP, they're going to go at different levels. So you have at first the parliamentary level. And our response at the parliamentary level has got to be very, very strong. Likewise, you have the regional democratic councils in all of the 10 regions. And therefore, at that level, the PPP is also going to try to deal with the issues and bring favor in terms of the contracts to their own people and skew development in terms of their communities. So you've got to be able to take on the fight at that level. At the NDC level, you've got to be, and so it calls for the party, the secretariat, to have our councillors in a different mode, in a mode to be ready to take on the PPP, to bring the fight to them, to stop the nonsense of marginalization, to stop the nonsense of misallocation. So those are the things that we have to do as a party. in terms of ensuring at all of the levels we can take on the issues and bring the fight to represent the people's issues to the PPP and ensure that we are, when we say we're serious, we're serious. And that is a very critical aspect. So the organization of the secretariat will lend to the what we say in the party's battle song, to organize the forces and charge the haughty enemy. That is what we will do by reorganizing the secretariat, bringing the groups back on track to be able to move as one. When we say we're ready to move, we move as one.
I like that. I like the point that you made, Doc, because the experience that comes with that is what will allow you to be able to structure and the sort of applications necessary to be able to structure such an effective machinery. But looking at those which you spoke about at the government level, and we know the issues are major. From the issues at GCOM, we now see a couple days ago and even yesterday, the movement to acquire supplementary budgets, which goes with the sort of oversight, no oversight spending. Reports of no tender in place, tender board is out, procurement commission is out. So we really see what we have is a government in a full runway mode. GCOM is at a point where people have become so frustrated. Now, how do you then work with the stakeholdership to ensure that we can take these on?
We have to bring clarity and understanding to the issues for our people. We have to be able to communicate at different levels so that the population clearly understands what is at stake. So that becomes very, very critical, because unless you are unable to create the conflict that exists within all of us, we are not going to get the actions that we want. And it is how we communicate, how we engage, how we connect, that gives us that understanding that our people at every level, from top to bottom, understands the issues at hand and what it means for them and what it means for their children and their children's children. But if we don't do that and we don't communicate in a rather strategic manner, then we are unable to have the impact that we really need to have. And so that is one of the very critical aspects in terms of, as a matter of fact, laying the carpet for the fight.
I like that, Doc. I like that, because you understand that there are elements to fighting. And, you know, as somebody who had the opportunity to listen to what a community would say, appreciate how do you build the sort of issues that people can buy into in an ideological manner, understanding that it means that much to them, is what we saw even in Linden, and we continue to hear and see the sort of cries coming out of many communities. So I'll ask Ms. Kisun if she can get in here now, if she's hearing us better, about some of those cries that you're hearing when you go to communities and what people are actually saying about the issues affecting them at that level. And we're talking very, very simple to some people, but not easy, because when a loaf of bread has moved to $100 and every other commodity has gone up, then that must be affecting the people down at the bottom, the grassroots people who feels that when they have children to send to school, some of them may have medical issues that they have to overcome and just can't find the resources to do it. How do you see that coming in, Ms. Kisun?
All right, I got boxed out again, so but I'm trying to. I didn't hear you properly. I got bounced off again. But
Okay, go.
yeah, but on the ground, I think at this time, I'm first of all, let me say good night to yourself and Dr. Charles and to your listening audience. And of course, Almighty God is great. It's good to be in the land of the living. We always have to confess that. But I want to say that on the ground, I think persons at this moment is they're feeling the frustration. People are feeling, fed up with what is happening, the way the government is operating. Persons are really right now looking for that change, and they want to know that change will only come with the People's National Congress reform. You're hearing the cries of mothers. We're seeing what is happening again. Everything is gone back. Bloodshed, murders, The place is dirty again. We don't have clean. The city, I've been in Georgetown because I'm traveling right now. The city is dirty. All these things, persons like you talked about earlier. And one of the things, Mr. Solomon, if you remember, early in 2020, and this is what will bring our community together, is what we were doing on the ground by going around and meeting groups and educating them. And I think that's what is missing right now. Persons need to be educated on all that is happening, whether it's in the oil sector. I remember you were telling people that encouraging them even before about wearing masks. I don't know if you remember that. In 2012, when we were out there, we were organizing, when you were meeting with people, once people are aware and they're together and they understand the issues, then to take the fight to the People's Progressive Party will not be such a challenge. You understand? So we need to have that coming together. We need to have that unity, and so that we will be able to deal with the enemy and to deal with the PPPC. And you know that what is important is staying connected. We have to stay connected with our members. We have to stay, the groups have to be connected and stay informed. They have to be informed because we know that that is what we did, and we were able to bring out an entire region because people were informed, they understood the issues, they knew what was happening, and so they were able to stay together and be informed of what is happening. I'm not sure if I answered your question correctly there,
But
but
you
based on what
captured
I
it.
heard.
Yeah, you captured in part, and I believe that part was so important because it reflects exactly what is needed for us at the level of getting our party at a state of readiness, but ensuring that we're at that level of readiness to take on the challenges that confronts us. And those challenges include those in the party and out of the party. And I think Doc mentioned earlier about the issue of starting with unity. And I know unity is just a word many times people use, but I can say to you that building from the experience of the past, it requires the ability to stretch out your hands and to ensure that every time you do that, you're able to find unclenched fists. And people can understand that at the end of the day, we're comrades. So Doc, back to you with the matters of, as you have been competing in this campaign, what are your thoughts? Because we just dealt with the national issues. We just dealt with how painful they are coming from Miskisoon and how they're affecting the grassroots, the masses, how they're affecting the working class. From 7% to our public servants, in fact, 3.5%. Inflation skyrocket, cost of living is up, and all of this happening in an oil economy where we see corruption continue to expand. But as we look outwards on those matters, and you mentioned earlier about bringing the party together to defeat the RT enemy, how do you see the campaign with regards to building that unity? How do you see the challenge after tomorrow's Congress?
Well, I think what the campaign did, it sort of catalyzed the connectedness we haven't completed because it needs to be sustained. And the sustainability of it is dependent upon the reorganization of the party. But what it has certainly done, it has catalyzed the politicians themselves and catalyzed the members, the supporters, to say, hey, where were you? Why weren't you connected to us? Why weren't you speaking with us? Why weren't you listening to us, coming to hear us? And I think this is what the campaign did, because people were very frank. They were very frank in saying, look, why are you complaining about this now after such a long time? And therefore, you had the opportunity. You're part of the problem. So I think the campaign has brought an awakening in terms of the political reality that what we have to do is get back to what we know and what we did best. So this is not rocket science. This is basic political science in terms of how we work on the ground, how are we staying connected, and what the political organization has got to do to sustain these actions. That is what this campaign has done. And that is why I am not fearful, because I am sure young and old have gotten the message as we crisscross this country.
I like that because, you know, Doc, one of the things I've been saying on this campaign to so many of the comrades is that the big enemy out there, which we spoke about, the PPP, is something we will defeat once we are able to come together and organize better on how to mobilize against these transgressions. But the biggest challenge to get to that remains our internal ability to come together and to organize to do that. And that is reflective on, I remember when we had the region having to come together. It started with those very basic elements, as basic as they are, more fundamentally important as the building blocks of the party, which comes from the members. The members are the foundation of the party. So to have that consultative, inclusionary, participatory style democracy allows now a full participation come tomorrow morning. Go down.
Let me say to you what I see that has happened. It's that the leadership was in a cocoon, and they never broke the cocoon to connect with the membership. So they continued this way in this cocoon, and there was no butterfly to come out. There was no butterfly to come out. And so what the campaign has done, its campaign has begun to start to say, hey, this butterfly is choking inside, but it wants to get out, but you got to do certain things, and you got to do it right.
Yes.
So I think, I honestly believe that the message is there for everybody. And what I liked in the campaign was that the members confronted us, spoke to the issues, and also, as last night when we were in Denham still, the comrade said, well, the young people, and that is a fact that we have to ensure and must not be afraid of dialoguing, bringing young people to the table, engaging them, listening to them, and involving them in the decision making. And you know, once we do this, it can have an impact that is tremendous, but it has an impact in our families because we take a different position with our children, that we begin to have them open up and speak to the issues. And that is what we have to do in this country because the young people have a lot to offer. And so once we understand that, I think we are going to be in a state of readiness to just balloon out and grow. You know, I think the issue in terms of dealing with the internal problems is when we looked at we did the SWOT analysis and we focused on looking at the strengths and the weaknesses, and those point to exactly to the issues that were raised by members as we went around. So I think we have, for us and our team, that will be a point of departure. It is not the prescription, but it is the point of departure for a discussion, not only among those elected, but those who are leaders across the country, members, to be able to say, this motor car got to get back on track. And we're going to put it in with a Rolls-Royce engine.
Yes. Yes. I like that. I like how you allowed for our young people to be recognized. You know, I am someone who demonstrates that young people, there is hope. And if we treat our young people in a certain way that allow them to grow, we are seeing the growth of our society. So I like that. But there are elements to how we fix our party, and you captured the youth side of it. Very critical, very important. So in the very short term, I have given that sort of encouragement to young people as they look towards myself and the candidacy for chairmanship, that we must see in the very short term those conferences, not only among the regions, but even at the level of the YSM, so that that sort of empowerment brings more young people in and give them an opportunity to start to own a big, important structure within the party. But as you captured for youths and where at least the vision for that stands, women, very crucial in our party. The son of a seamstress who understands just what these cottage industries can do for businesses, can do for families. Sent both my brother and I to college, university. Those cottage industries of people who are on the market square, holding down small businesses, most of them are women doing what they have to do to survive for themselves and family. In the NCW, we know in the past, the NCW held very resourceful engagements for women in the area of training, in the area of ensuring cooperatives, of which our party is big and built on, coming all the way from the village movement. How do you see this sort of ability to build? And I want to take this time to give Comrade Simona Brooms a warm and hearty thank you, because it shows where women understand that they're prepared to work for the party, prepared to work to give support where need be, while support is reciprocated to them. So what do you see that support being to our women, to reciprocate it, to ensure that they have the strength to continue to fight for this party?
Well, I think, we tend to give lip service to many things. But in the main, if you were to really, an economist were to really study the situation, the amount of female-headed households that have produced a lot of good product, good human beings, males and females, is tremendous. But we have to we cannot be satisfied by saying we have a certain percentage of women in the parliament. We have to see in real terms how women participate in the economy in real ways, and therefore ensure that, you know, for example, when I was at GWI looking for female engineers, but I do not think we've done enough to attract women to the engineering profession. I don't think we've done enough. And therefore, the system has to take a different tack. But I am concerned in a way when I look at the security staff across this country. It's a lot of women, a lot of women. And I ask myself in terms of what's going on with the social fabric in our country. Because women have a role, not that they should be in the home, but a lot of the children are, as I said, out of single parent homes. And these women have got to struggle in a way to make ends meet. And as you made reference to the increased cost of living, when you have a government is saying 7.5% and brings an economist to say, well, there's no way they can get more, well, tell them, let those at the top take a cut and give this public service more. Because you know it is hard. It is hard for them to survive. When you look at female pensioners who are struggling, let us reflect on what a pensioner can do with the $25,000 in this economy of ours, and see the degree of hardship that exists and how they have to struggle, and look at them in terms of their nutrition. And invariably, a lot of them are diabetics and hypertensive. And they have to struggle to purchase their strips, to be able to check their blood sugar, and sometimes even have to purchase their other drugs, which are not available. So it's a difficult issue for a lot of women in this system right now.
I like that, Doc, because I like how you brought in the issue of healthcare in that with our senior citizens. So not just women, but even our elderly women and elderly folks. But I see we have Ms. Kisun with us, and I really want to have her in this conversation because we spoke about young people, and we understand where we have to provide the issue of training. I know compliments of the North American Medical School. We got some scholarships for mostly young women, and they're doctors today. But looking at the issue of so many women in the situation they are today, trying to make ends meet, struggling to do so, holding down sometimes the jobs that take them away from their families and not allow them to be able to give that sort of support. NCW, over the years, have ensured that they give this sort of party grounding, political grounding to women. And you and I spoke to a comrade only this evening who spoke to us about the challenges in making it happen as a woman. How do you see that, Ms. Kisun, as someone who served the NCW, in regards to those issues coming back to you?
Okay, first of all, let me say that, like you both said, we have the change in roles because, as we know, we were accustomed to the man being the breadwinner in the home, and the woman was there to nourish the children, you know, and all of that. Now you find that women have to go out there, and in many cases, like Doc said, women are suffering whether it's hypertension, diabetes, and so on. That's because women are now, they now have to be the breadwinner, and lots of times we don't take care of ourselves. We put the needs of our families first, of our husbands and our children, we put those needs first. And so we don't take the time to take care of ourselves. And that is why we experience all these different illnesses. And like you mentioned, cost of living and all of that. What I know that we need to, and what I would really want to see us and having done in the NCW is having, like you talk about different industries we can do. I remember you talking at Pleasance where we can use the fruits that we bear to have to make jams and jellies. But you see, the thing is too, even when the women, because we have women, they're doing the virgin coconut oil and all of this. The other aspect of that is have the training in marketing. How are we able to market our products? And so these are the things that we have to look into and train. And like Doc said also, we have to encourage, even at the high school level, we must not only encourage our daughters or our young women to say only going to nursing and teaching, that's the normal thing, become a lawyer or a doctor. We need to see them more, as Doc said earlier. We have to encourage them to get out into engineering and all the other aspects, the oil and gas. We need to see our women out there. So it calls for us to, and I would really want to see the NCW continue on a more impactful note, being able to, like the young people, women need training too. Like I said, especially in areas of marketing, labeling. If you're going to do jams and jellies and so on, you have to know to do proper labels and all of that. You would understand that. So these are some of the areas that we need to look in and have our women be involved and not just have them, lots of times too, us women and you gentlemen know, we do the work, we put you guys out there, put you forward, we're left behind. So we have to continue to work with our women. Let's put it back. The PNC motto, women are the vanguard of the vanguard.
I,
So, let us not reinvent the wheel, but let us continue down that path. We have to now re-energize and bring back that passion and ensure. And the other thing is too, gentlemen, we have to respect our women, and respect our young girls. So these are some of the things I would really want to see us pushing in the near future.
and those are things we will have to look at. Those are things this party was built on in terms of where we placed women at that vanguard role. So I know time is on us. We're at the 10 o'clock mark. And just in closing, Doc, can you say, as you see tomorrow, what do you expect?
Well, I expect a good turnout, first of all. I would hope that people are not bullied to go one way or the other, but people can think as to what decision they really have to make. I believe this is a very, very important moment for us. And I think our membership should realize that their decision to go one way or the other can mean many things for the party and for the country. I think we need to recognize that we have to show the leadership to be able to move this country in a different direction. But the leadership can only come by how our membership performs and how we unite. I think we can't overemphasize the issue of unity. I heard Vanessa making the call for us to act in a mature manner. Don't allow people to step on your toes. Don't allow words to get you to a point where you make the wrong decision. Think carefully and ignore the foolish and be wise in your actions.
I like that. I like that, Doc. And we'll take this time to wrap up. I want to take this opportunity as we proceed to the 18th tomorrow, that as in our quest, my quest for the position of chairman of the People's National Congress, and I encourage each member, each delegate, that tomorrow the future of the party is your destiny to move. I thank you this evening, and may Almighty God bless each one of you.
And Sharma, season's greetings to all of our listeners and all our families as we prepare also for Christmas, as we move from the Congress to Christmas. God bless.
And let me just say, Mr. Solomon, I'm calling on our delegates, our comrades to really, and I really would want us to keep it clean tomorrow. Let us remember at the end of this, we still have to work together. We still have to be a team. We are a team. Team PNCR, that is what we're doing. We can do it. Yes, we can. I know that we can. I'm encouraging persons, again, put that X leader, Dr. Richard Van West Charles, chairman, Mr. Sharma Solomon, and let's have our party moving. The other members, the other candidates, the delegates, I'm calling on you. For those persons in Linden, I want to say some persons may, if you're having difficulties getting to the polling station, they can give me a call on 603-5211, and we want our comrades to come out, exercise your rights. Remember, voting, it's not just national and regional elections. We have our Congress, our party needs us, our country needs us, our children and our children's children need us. I want to say this to us tonight, comrades, and I'm really calling on our delegates. This is about our future, and our future is our children and their children. We need to ensure that we pave the way and set the path for them. And we can do it, but we have to do it together. We have to do it in unity. And tomorrow we have to make the right decision in order to see our party be reunited, reorganized, restructured, and rebuilt. I want to encourage us all. Long live the People's
PNCR.
National Congress reform.
All right, well,
God bless.
let me say this. I see that we got a note from the operator. So I thought we were on the mark, on the hour mark, and we got a little more time. But despite those, I would call them premature closing, I think they nevertheless serve based on. I would like to ask just one more question, because I know it is important. Though we ask that we give that sort of attention as candidates, as delegates, to the process and to ensure it works. How do you see that in terms of the procedures, the logistics, Doc, that are in place? And that I want to build on what Ms. Kisoon just talked about for Region 10. How do you see that on your end of the campaign?
Well, my latest information, I think, is signaling a good level of preparedness in different regions. I got some information this afternoon about the preparedness in Region 10, in Region 9, in Region 6. And I think many of the officers who were charged to look at the physical infrastructure have done remarkably well. I think they should be praised for the work that they have done. And it begins to show where the people want this thing to happen, and so that we can move in a different direction. So the energies that have been catalyzed for us to move is enormous. And I think the delegates need to realize that they have an enormous decision to make for the party, the delegates. And each delegate has to know that the decision that he or she makes is between himself or herself and their God. And that's it. No other person can sway you. Just the night before coming on, I was speaking to a delegate, and he shook my hand, and I shook his hand, and I said, well, I hope I'm shaking the right hand that will mark the X next to my name. And he said, well, Doc, well, Doc, I will know where I will go when I'm in the booth. So, and that is it. I think that is the thing that one would expect from each of the delegates, that what you would have done is between you and your God, and that's it. Don't, this group movement, this herd, we get confused probably because of the pandemic. We're talking about herd immunity, and you want to have herd voting, but that doesn't work. That kills us. So I think most of our comrades are understanding that the import of this moment in terms of what they have to do.
I like this, Doc, with the herd, because I know when we started this coming together, working together, and we expanded the team, one of the most fundamental things that we adopted was we were not going to use any slate. We were going to ensure that though endorsements and support was there for each other and for other candidates. I've spoken to quite a few candidates, whether it's Laurelie Nesta, whether it's Elson Lowe, Christopher Jones, so many candidates. I spoke with Risedale even up to last evening, because that for me speaks to what we call comrade and camaraderie.
That's right.
Brotherhood between each and every one, and should be there. But go Doc.
But Mark, I think we can't underestimate the role of Mark Benchoff, David Hines, Sherrod Duncan, and the media as a whole, the journalists as a whole. How I think they have aided in bringing the attention and the focus of our members, our supporters, and the Guyanese across to this issue. Many, one may be surprised that a lot of our Guyanese comrades, even the PPP, are looking at it and saying, well, what we have to learn one or two things from the PNC. Because I think, had it not been for the push from the media, and I want to single out Mark and David Hines and Sherrod, and you have Randy Critchlow, etc. But I think that created a degree of openness, the beginnings of our transparency in communication, the frankness of the exchange, and the questions, the penetrating questions that are asked, I think bodes well for us. And we have to allow this environment to blossom. We have to. And I think it will do well. As a matter of fact, I think it will do well for the party as we come in the public space to communicate and share our vision on a number of issues.
All right. So, but I want to ensure that we get just that sort of understanding of working together, and where working together brings the best out of each other, even if we compete against each other. But just on that point of not having a slate, and where that sort of matter will give more fraction, instead of allowing people, as we spoke about the delegates, having that more liberal approach to seeing what every candidate brings to the table. As we said, without a slate, every man, Dr. Charles have to go there and bat for himself with whatever support is given.
That's
Sharma
right.
have to go there and bat for himself. We have to demonstrate what we bring to the issues of bringing our party to a point where it can be at a strength of taking on not only the PPP and defeating them, but move towards the reins of government. I think, yeah, you want to say something?
So, Sharma, I would expect that at the local government level, at the national elections level, we are going to witness the those contesting for local government in the constituencies are going to be out there saying what they have to do for this constituency. And then in that way, you can see the tide would rise in terms of the participation in local government elections. But because right now, our participation in local government elections is very low.
Yes.
I mean, we dropped by 11% in the last one, from 38 to 29, I think it was. So that is not good for us. That is not good for the democracy. That is not good for growth and development at a local level. So I think this experience emanating from this Congress can help to do many things at a national level. And I look forward with hope that this will happen.
I like that term, Doc. You know, we have to keep hope alive in our society, and we hope that it doesn't infect our party, where we see people are moving from a state of hope to hopelessness. And I think it's important that the process be allowed to work, that brings integrity, that gives hope. And that sort of hope transfers itself into the wider context of what society expects of a political movement, one that has been around for over 64 years, to ensure that the Guyanese people, who we shepherded as a nation to independence, republic, full self-determination, as we did that as a party and give so much to the consciousness of Guyanese. I think it's important that we give that hope back to them through our party and through the way we've been campaigning. But Ms. Kisoon, just again, we have some extension. How do you see that sort of behavior of the process giving hope as you engage someone on the ground at a very grassroots level?
All right, let me say this first of all. I remember when we were at a meeting months ago, I think it was in Region 2, when Dr. Charles was addressing some comrades, and he said to them, you know, he explained about not having a slate and why he didn't go with a slate. And he said, you know, let every person, all the candidates, let them come before you. It matters not what position they're vying for. Let them come before you. Let them say to you what they have to offer. And very shortly after that, I was so amazed, and I felt so happy when I saw, especially our younger comrades, you know, reaching out, and so much so that even though and thank God for technology, you find comrades who are even able to have meetings, whether it's via Zoom, engaging comrades via WhatsApp, you know, so you might not be able to be on the ground physically, but you're still able to meet and to interact with comrades and let them know what you have to offer. Let them know of your experiences, and it was really, really nice. I remember one time we were in Region 2, and it was really nice out of one meeting to another meeting. But that when you're leaving a meeting, a comrade is leaving that a meeting to come to the meeting that you were at, and persons, the comrades on the ground enjoyed that. They felt really good that they were able to interact with the comrades who are running for office, whether it's via phone, via WhatsApp, video calling, whether it's physical. They like that. And that would have now re-energized a lot of our members. And you know what? I hear you talk about hope, and we know that we have to keep hope alive. But you know what our comrades love to hear? Listen, you guys know we got your back. And so when we got your back and you go in there, our comrades would like to know, listen, you got our backs, and
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that we have to stress on. We got each other's back. We're each other's keeper. We're our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, we are our comrades' keeper. So that our comrades will not feel left in the wilderness. One of the things I want to encourage, and I'm talking to all the candidates here, all those persons who after tomorrow you're going to take up the seat whether of leader. Of course, I'm vying for Dr. Charles to be the leader, Mr. Solomon for chairman, whoever is going to be vice chair, treasurer. I know Comrade Derek Lawrence is running in that capacity there too. I'm encouraging you guys, whoever are going to fill those seats. One of the things I'm going. Listen, I'm going to be out there at I'm going to be holding you people accountable, and I'm going to encourage the other members to do so. You see that phone that y'all have? You see those phones that you're afforded by the grace of Almighty God? Please answer it when we call. Just like when you
I hear that, Ms. Kisoon. We
please
do.
answer those phones when
I
we
do.
call. We will get the positions.
Well,
Well,
there's no need for just the position. As early as this year, we have been as far as Belladrum. We've
I
been
know.
Pleasance.
I'm talking to all candidates.
Well,
All.
I hear that.
well,
Um,
physicians always answer their phones.
I hear
I
that,
know.
Mr. Kisoon, but I want the membership to appreciate that it doesn't require position to have to answer your phone. All right. When we hear from comrades as far as Pleasance, we show up. When we
Yeah.
hear from comrades as far as Belladrum, anywhere over the river, we are there.
And
And
sometimes, but Mr.
we are there.
Solomon, we didn't even wait for a phone call. We turned
Well,
up.
well,
We
that's
called,
right.
we
So
called, and we engaged.
I
So
think
we need more of that.
I think that's very important to note that notwithstanding where we are in the party, every comrade brings value to this party. So that brings me to the point we can't be able to tear one another down and then tomorrow look to that comrade with value to ask to build the party back. So I think that's very
The one thing here, guys, I would really love to see also that central exec meeting be taken to the different regions.
I,
Not every time you have central exec, you have to go to Georgetown.
I hear
You
that.
need to go to the different regions. I would, Dr. Charles,
No,
I'm imploring this
no, I
when you
agree
become
with.
leader,
Well, let me say
along
to
with this
you,
person there.
Vanessa, this is the thing. When I was at GWI, I had meetings. I shifted the meetings round from Georgetown to Region 6 to Region 10. That is, well, you're down my street. That's
This
that's
is
the
what
way
we
I,
need.
So
because people have got to be on the ground and understand the problems on the ground.
I like that, but we are speaking on the ground. Let us not forget a portion of our party lives overseas in the diaspora. And it's
Yeah,
very important as we recognize their full involvement and participation. I'd like to express gratitude to the North American region for
yeah.
hosting myself. I know earlier you were there, Doc. They hosted several candidates. I think most innovative. They asked some very pertinent questions. They were very forthcoming with what they saw with regards to issues affecting our party. I had the opportunity a couple nights ago to speak to some comrades in Maryland and in the DC area. Very, very interesting conversation on many issues. How do you see that, Doc? including tomorrow's participation, but moving forward, the diaspora's participation?
Well, as I said before, look, the diaspora is critical to Guyana's development. The diaspora is as informed of the issues, sometimes more informed than some of our own people living in Guyana on some of the issues. Because for many people in the diaspora, sometimes they're up at 5 in the morning reading the daily newspapers which are online. So, but in terms of our development, the diaspora should not be seen only about remittances. The diaspora brings value in terms of knowledge and knowledge transfer to developmental issues. I encourage, for example, from the party's perspective, those in the diaspora from different villages, etc., to be part of the process of finding solutions. You may have, they are connected, they have networks of people that are engineers, teachers, etc., and they can bring so much to assist us and participate in meetings. But what is important for us as a country, Sharma, we have to look at our internet penetration. It is vital. It is as important now as water. The access to the internet is critical because information and knowledge is very, very important to the developmental. So a push in the direction of increasing our internet access across this country is very, very important. I think it would be a mistake for government not to understand that this is vital. And I raise this issue because under APNU, a lot was done, especially in the hinterland, in terms of access. A lot of children benefited a lot in terms of their research, their projects, and so forth. But sad to say, presently, a lot of those systems are down.
Certainly.
And probably in many ways, down in the villages that supported APNU as a means of punishment and no right minds. We have to deal with these behaviors of this government in terms of the attitude on with respect to the discrimination and the marginalization of intent by both local governments, the RDCs, and central government.
I understand that. So we are wrapping up now. We're about to close the program. So half a minute, Doc, half a minute, Ms. Kisoon, half a minute, Doc. Just wrap up quickly. In closing words, Ms. Kisoon, then we'll give you Doc.
Well, thank you very much.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay. Go ahead, Vanessa. Right. Let me say for tomorrow, and I know, Mr. Solomon, you will normally say to comrades, and I want to say this tonight. I want to echo what you would normally say tonight. To those delegates, you know, I want to say to them, as you would say, don't vote for me because I your boy. Vote because you know that you can get the job done. And I wanna encourage our delegates tonight that tomorrow, this is a serious decision. This here right now, what we're doing, it is going to affect our future. And so we have to make the right choices and the right decisions. Okay. So I want to say tonight, and I'm talking specifically to the delegates, and I'm calling on all my party comrades that tomorrow, after tomorrow, we have to live together. We are comrades, and we have to work together. I like to ask the question, can we do this? I say, yes, we can. Let us go out there. Let us not vote based on sentiments and all of that. It's a decision that will affect our children and their children's future, our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. I will forever say this. We see what is happening. We know what the PPP gives. I heard someone, I think Christopher Jones said it the other night on a program with you, Mr. Solomon, or the other morning. They're worse than with the 23 years. Any demon come in, they come 7, how many times worse when they're coming? So We know what we have to deal with out there.
Yes.
But what we have to do now is fix us, fix our party. The People's National Congress reform. Our children are depending on us. This country is depending on us. And one of the other things, let us not forget the other stakeholder. We know NAR is important, youths, women, our elderly. Let us not forget them. And we must remember to honor them. And we must remember, to involve them in our decision making. We need them. We
Sure.
need their wisdom. So I want to encourage us. Tomorrow is a big day for us. But at the end of this day, we will prove to the world that the PNCR is the party, the Democratic Party, showing all the aspects of how we vote and all of that. So I want to say tonight, long live the People's National Congress reform.
Doc,
See you guys tomorrow.
just in closing,
Dr. Van West Charles, the leader, Mr. Sharma Solomon for chairman, and we're going to put our CC together, moving the party forward. Our moment, our time.
yes, Doc, in closing.
Well, let me say, I can endorse all of what Vanessa has said, but I want to say that let us remember that it is the future that we have to be focused on now. It is for our children. And with the resources that are coming to us, it is important that the government, our party, they're both in the right hands, with right leadership, the right team. And so it calls on all of us tomorrow to think carefully, what is best for our party? What is best for our country? What is best for our future and for our children's future? And may God guide us to do the right thing and keep us in a united way going forward, tolerant of each other, so that we can make a difference to our human beings that live in this space we call Guyana. God bless.
Thank you both, and thank you, listeners, for giving us your time and attention, more so to you, our delegates, who will be making that very critical decision tomorrow to change the future of our party and, in essence, change the future of our nation. Put it in the right hands, the hands of people who have the experience and who have done this before, and I can assure you we'll do this again. Thank you very much. May Almighty God richly bless the People's National Congress. May Almighty God richly bless our beautiful country again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of all the candidates, Dr. Richard Van West Charles is best qualified to lead the task of uniting comrades and rebuilding the People's National Congress reform. When the party is disunited and in disarray, he has proven to be the most united candidate and the only one who has put forward a sobering plan for rebuilding and restoring normalcy.
Out of ages of oppression, independent now we stand, newly born again, victorious, reigning masters of our land. On the peak of Mount Roraima, or beneath the rising sun, from the mark of Point to Player to where eastern currents run, all are given liberty by the might of the people.